me make okay. Hello. Okay, wait a minute. I try to make pin the title, the topic today. Let's invite Pak Nanak first. Okay, this one. Hello. Wait, I invite Pak Nanak first before we share something that relates to how to increase student engagement, right? Okay, let me pin. Okay, it will be in Bahasa and English, so yeah, it's free for you to give some comments or give us some experience or question. Hello, thank you for joining us. Okay, I try to invite Pak Nanak. Just wait a minute. Yeah, so actually we have an abbreviation, yeah. What we call it? We call it bosen ngajar. Bosen ngajar mean ngobrol santai, ngajak pintar. Okay. Okay. Where is it? Oh, this one. Okay, so it is first session for us in INSTA Live. So we will have this session every Saturday. Hopefully it can give you some insight. Yeah, bosan ngajar. Don't know will we use it or not, but we just call it a weekly sharing. Okay, where is Pak Nanak? I try to invite him. Okay. Okay, ways to aku pin itu dulu ya. Wah, hello. Oh, Pak Nanak, have you? Wait a minute. I have invited you, right? Have you accepted it, Pak Nanak? Are you try to pin the title or the topic for our discussion? Oh, sharing today. Way to increase students engagement. We have 1 hour session, yeah. Engagement and Okay. Oh, sorry. Yes, finally. Halo, Bu Ai. Thank you for joining us. Hi, finally. Hello, Pak Nanak. How's
Hello.
it?
Oh, sorry. Let me check how this works. It's my first time, so I don't know how live works. Wait a
It's
moment.
okay.
Um, how can I
Okay.
use this?
Okay. So, we'll what is it? Talk and share about ways to increase student engagement in online learning. But before I try to pin our topic, wait a minute. But while we are what is it? Start the sharing. Perhaps you can tell our audience. Most of Unsil students know who you are, but perhaps here
That's why I
there's
think
someone who
there's
wants
nothing
to
I
know
have to
more about
explain.
you. What
Um,
you can Google it actually, yeah, Pak Nan. So many story about Pak Nanak. He's a great person.
ooh.
So perhaps you can tell us.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you, Ibu Ratu and EduTech for inviting me, okay, into this. Sorry, I just kind of wear a t-shirt. I thought it's just casual. Is that fine?
It's okay. It's a casual
Yeah,
discussion
so
anyway.
yeah, I'm Nanak. I'm working for EBAC. It's an Edgar Broad Academic Chair. Um, so we're working together here at UNSIL. Basically, EBAC has been maybe 17 years with UNSIL, and with me, we started in 2018. Oke, so jadi sekarang tahun ketiga di sini di UNSIL. Jadi cukup, bukan cukup lagi, tapi apa namanya, pengalamannya sejauh ini sangat 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 keren, inspiring sekali.
Okay. Okay, so thank you. And for your information, actually Pak Nanak juga seorang yang pengajar yang memiliki konsep humanism di sini. Tetapi kali ini kita akan membahas tentang how to make what is it? How to increase student engagement in an online learning. Saya lihat beberapa konsep pengajaran Pak Nanak ini di beberapa mata kuliah memang sangat engaging, yeah. So there's so many activity there. It's not only synchronous or asynchronous. Perhaps here you can give us some experience or insight about that. So what is engagement itself? Actually, we know that there are 3 points, right? In when we talk about engagement, it's kind of what is it, hard thing. Even di dalam pertemuan kelas-kelas non online, I mean that in our traditional classroom before pandemic, ya, sangat sulit sekali untuk bagaimana engage dengan student behavioral engagement, emotional engagement, and then cognitive engagement, apalagi sekarang ini online. Nah, we'd like to know, perhaps you can give us some insight or something from your experience how to what is it, cover with it.
Yeah, I guess with the pandemic, I think everyone is struggling. That is something that we have to understand, especially in education. It is not only the teachers, but also students. A lot of time we think that students are struggling during online learning, but we tend to forget that teachers are also struggling. So for me, I think the best way is like we have to see it in the middle. You know, we have to see what's the problem between us, the teacher, and the student, and find the solutions. Um, but of course, again, no matter how hard we try to make engaging online learning, of course, the feeling would not be the same as in offline learning because there are some limitations that the technology cannot do, compared to offline learning. But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that we have to stop trying. For example, I think we have to improve all the time. I remember, I think my first time when we shifted to online learning back in 2020, and it was so struggling because, we had to learn a lot about, at least like, for example, the simple way is Zoom. We have to learn how Zoom works and, how to make breakout rooms and all stuff like that. of course we need time to learn that as well. And students too, I think the most problematic students that find is the internet problems. I think we know that the students are not, they live in different places, remote areas and all, and we cannot control the connection. That is something that the teacher, we cannot control that part. But I think when it comes to the second part of 2020, that's the second semester, and then we came up with what about we just kind of make it blended learning, but still
Yeah.
online? You know what I mean? So the concept
Yeah.
of blended learning is, normally we see blended learning as something like, for example, you study online and also in the classroom. But in the pandemic, both of them are online. It's just that the classroom we moved into Zoom. So that's why we made this e-learning through LMS. What I'm using is Canvas, although any LMS actually okay. They are basically the same, just different features
Yeah.
sometimes. And then yeah, we divide that into two. Okay, first we had the Canvas or e-learning sessions, and then after that we follow up by Zoom. Uh, why we did that, I think it's very simple because we understand that, Zoom only is not effective. First of all, attending on Zoom session is so tiring. Okay, you have to see the screen all the
Okay. Yeah.
time. I think on the journals that we have read, there was a term we call as, what is it? I cannot forget.
A Zoom hangover.
Yeah, something like that, Zoom hangover, because and we can understand how a student is struggling too, because student living at home, right? And then
Yeah.
we never know what kind of houses they have. Maybe they're living with brothers, or maybe we just never know. And then unlike
Yeah.
in the classroom, we can make the classroom conducive, but of online, we cannot do that. So we divide it into two. So, for example, if we have 2 hours lesson, then 1 hour on e-learning and then 1 hour on Zoom, so that the student learn before the materials on the e-learning, and then after that, we explain everything on Zoom. And so far, based on two surveys that we did, the results very positive. I think students really enjoy that kind of teaching methods, so that we can, first of all, we can decrease the time that we do online on Zoom, and secondly, students still learn. Maybe that is something that I want to tell to everyone. First of all, is that the most problematic online learning perception that students have is the fact that students always think online learning as artificial. It's not
Oh,
real.
yeah.
Like, a lot of times students think I don't learn anything from online learning because they still think it's as something that not real. Of course, it's not real in the sense that we don't meet in person, but the learning materials, the engagement, the learning outcomes, supposed to be real. It means it depends on the teachers how to make that everything to be real. You know what I mean? So that shouldn't not think it as something artificial, but they think it as something real too. That they learn still, even if it's online. Sorry, I cannot talk too much, but yeah, that's I think the first thing that I want to say to everyone.
Okay, so yeah, it's quite interesting that you use Canvas, yeah, for your what is it? Asynchronous what we call it platform for your
Mm-hmm.
student, and then you follow up it with a Zoom. Yeah. Do you have a what is it? Find a kind of barriers while you having this two method in conducting the classroom. What is it? Using asynchronous and synchronization. How can you manage it?
Yeah, so I think the first thing we have to remember is, in university, we call it as credits, how many credits
Yeah.
your class is, or if it's public school, maybe you can think like how many hours do you teach on one lesson. If it's 2 hours, then quite easy. You can just divide into two. Okay, let's say 1 hour on e-learning and 1 hour on
Yeah.
Zoom. But one thing that we have to make it real is on the e-learning part, because of course student will do it individually. Okay, that means we have to make it quite you know, I would say a lot of creative things that we have to do.
Yeah.
For example, when we created modules for each week, we try to create it different way, different activities, and then so student can do it. And oh, of course, the other thing that we have to remember is, you know, kind of the real thing that we do in the classroom is we have to force students sometimes to do something because we have to understand that when students do of online learning at home, like, you know, like on Canvas or on e-learning, a lot of time they don't have any motivation to do that. I think
Yeah.
it's quite
Yeah.
common. Maybe you guys have started taken online courses like on Coursera or EDX, and how many of you
Yeah.
could finish the course? Maybe we can count, you know, a lot of time we just sort of stop halfway through, or we just couldn't finish it because we don't have that constant motivations. But I think in when it comes to like we did with Zoom, so you have to find an e-learning that can force students to do that, so that if the students miss it, they're not gonna continue to the next part because it's blocked automatically. So that means before the student can proceed or progress to the next module, they have to finish the first module. And by doing that, student, want it or not, they have to do it. Maybe in the beginning they will feel being forced, but you know, I think it's very humans nature that in order for us to be disciplined, and many times we have to be forced first. And then once you get the habit, when the habit is already formed, then you're gonna be easier for you to just follow. Oh yeah, the next module will be locked if I haven't finished this module, for example. So that way, student learn. Okay, that means the student cannot skip the materials, and then we explain everything in the Zoom meeting. So it's a win-win solution in my opinion, for us and also for students. I mean, the first thing I have to tell you is to make student do it. Okay, so that
Okay.
we build the habits. Okay, student
Yes.
will continue doing that for the next part or the next module.
Okay. So like a kind of what is it? Uh, ask you about the notion of pushing the student, yeah, and means in a good way. So
Exactly. Mhm.
yeah, in a good way. As you say that it can be what is it a habit for them because we have for teens meetings in one semester, and then they can what is it kind of familiar or what we call it as an habitual to do that those things. So I think that the clear instruction is the essential too. Yeah, how that can the student can what is it
Mm.
understand what actually the what we call it the objective of the course, and then how can we give a clear instruction to them. Okay. Okay, that's good insight. So, if I'm not mistaken, that I have seen some of activities. You have several activities that you, what is it, did in Canvas. Several of them, how to engage them in their first meeting. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, that you have kind of make a video introduction. I think that what is it good things, yeah, for us to begin the what is it kind of class, and then how they can introduce their self in a good way, and how they can what is it feel comfortable how to start the class. Can you what is it give me more experience about those activities?
Yeah, that's true. I think, well, my concept, I would say, whenever I start teaching, I need to always see everything going back to us as a humans, so what we feel, what we want, and then we do that in the education. That's why our campaign is Immunizing Education, means we have to create education like for humans, okay, what human wants, that means us, students, and then what we want is we create that in the classroom. So it's quite simple. When we go back that, I think it's so much easier for us to do anything. So first of all, as I mentioned in the beginning, that online learning a lot of time is perceived to be artificial, not real. Then when we create e-learning modules or e-learning lesson, then we have to make it real. We have to welcome students that this is your classroom. Even though we don't have physical classroom, but online or e-learning, it's also your classroom, but in a virtual way. So we have to make it real, and then we have to welcome students that we are all humans, and that when you log in, you're not interacting with robots, for example, but you're interacting with humans. I mean, we have to combine those elements that we're all real, and then we are here to help you, and then you will learn. Because when it is online, we don't want to make students like, I don't get anything from this. Okay, this is not worth it, or something like that. Meanwhile, we have to understand that students also, they invest a lot of things in their education. In the online, they have to buy internet data, they have to spend time, they have to have gadgets and all, and then we have to appreciate that the student also do something. So we have to give something back to the students, not make it like, for example, a lot of time it is online, we just give assignments and that's it. Then they're not gonna learn that way. When you give assignments, you need to explain what they need to do and then what kind of answers that you expect. So those kind of things must be clear. Otherwise, students will be confused. Why do you always give me assignment, and assignment? They will be burned out. So it means we as a teacher need to be there. We need to be present. Okay, if we talk about the COI thing, that we always discuss the framework of community of inquiry, that we have teaching presence, cognitive presence, and social presence. Those elements or those presences must be balanced. So we cannot have just cognitive. I mean, we only give assignment to the student, and student will, I have no idea what to do. Okay, so you need to also teach them, and then you need to make the student interact with you and the other students. So as simple as that, basically. And now the problem is how we do that in an online learning. That's the challenge, but we can do it. Okay, for example, in the e-learning, before we created the e-learning, we kind of give them a lot of guides. Okay, so this is what you're gonna do. This is what you have to do next, and then we also in the introduction, in the orientation module. So we have orientation module. Basically, we introduce
Notion.
Yeah, we introduce the university, we introduce the lecturers, we introduce the students, so that they know that we are all here, they are real. And then something also needs to be clear is when they encounter problems, technical problems, they need to know to whom they should contact. It's very important because it is online, anything can happen. If students have no idea to whom they should contact, then they will be lost. So basically we have to welcome students like warmly, like in the offline, when you have new students, new semesters, and they come to your class, you want to create good impressions. You want to welcome your student warmly, and then your student feel comfortable in your classroom. It's very important to make our students comfortable, because nobody can learn in an uncomfortable situation, and that's a basic human's nature. So it means if, for example, we find our classroom not conducive, maybe because you don't set up it to be conducive. You do not set up it to be, comfortable. So we have to make sure that students comfortable, and that's a very essential part before we start teaching, basically. Okay, I think that's probably what can I answer.
That good notion. I heard about reorientation. Yeah, reorientation session.
Yeah, it's the orientation module. So we have several modules in the beginning before they start the materials. When they log in, okay, for the first time, they will see a home module, which is basically explaining who we are, and then what course is this, okay, what do you expect from this course. And then we have also the second module is sorry the technical problems. So if students need help, they know how to contact, to whom they should contact, and then we have also orientation modules. Basically, we explain everything, okay, including the university, the course objectives, the lectures, the other classmates. So they see, okay, oh, these are all people and real. And even we have Zoom orientation, which is we basically explain how this e-learning works. Because maybe this is something everyone, especially teachers, need to understand that although you may think that your students are Generation Z or millennials, but we
Yeah.
cannot expect that all of them understand how to use technology.
Yeah.
Just like us teachers, many times we also do not know how to use technology. So it means orientation how to use and e-learning is very important too. So they know what this menu is for, what if they want to see grades, okay, which menu that they have to click, something like that. It's very important to do that basically. So yeah, I think those before we start the materials, the modules for the materials, we have to make sure that we have the orientation modules, so students know what to do and who we are and or what will they learn in the whole lesson thing or course.
Okay, so you provide those things on Canvas, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
so if it's on Zoom, probably I can show you how everything looks like. But for now,
Yeah.
maybe we can only tell. Okay, that's basically
So yeah, we will
yeah.
have follow-up for this session. Actually, just only casual in the discussion, and then we will have June
Yeah,
session then. Okay,
yeah.
and then okay, what is it? Comprehensive and detailed things, yeah. Before we start the class, so do you find kind of challenges while you what is it? Starting the classroom in the online classroom, of course. Is there any challenges that you face while having that?
Yeah, of course, there are a lot challenge. I think as I mentioned that no matter how try you want to make your online learning to be perfect, but there's always problems. But I think the thing is maybe the most common problem is of course the connection. But again, that is something
Oh,
that we
yeah.
cannot control because that's not the teacher's job to solve that or to deal with it. But I think there are many things that we can basically make students engage and comfortable being in our classroom, and that's something that the teachers can do basically. But it means the teacher needs to work harder. Okay, we cannot be lazy. For example, we can only do, okay, guys, this is the material that you're gonna learn, and then this is the assignment, and that's it. And then you are missing. You cannot be
Those
fine. So
things.
like exactly, and you cannot do that. It means you have to work twice. Okay,
Yeah.
as I remember when we shifted to online learning, I think I invested a lot on the on making perfect modules because I understand that it is not like in the classroom. It means, for example, if it's in the classroom, maybe I can only spend preparation 1 hour, for example. But in
Yeah.
online, I have to make it maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. But we can tell everyone that one module can be made within days, like even a week, because it's quite complicated. But yeah, but I mean, for the best of our students, so that they learn and then they do not think that online learning worthless, then we have to do it. So that's, I think, what we have to do.
Okay. Yeah, what is nice. Okay, so I'd like to discuss with you about this notion actually that in a student engagement there are kind of level of student engagement. Yeah, I try to find out about those information. So there are let's say that there are 5 level of this engagement. We can say that engagement in high attention and high commitment, and then strategy compliance seperti high attention and but they have low commitment. That's a different kind thing. And then the third one, ritual, where there is just only low attention and then low commitment, and then a kind of retreatism, no attention and then no commitment, and then the last one, rebellion. So what do you think about that? Because as we can see that while we having Zoom sessions, some what is it? It's kind of normal when student having the reason that there is no what is it, internet connection, and then they should turn off their camera, yeah. But it's kind of hard. What do you think about that? How to make them engage while they just only turning off their video or camera? Do you have any ideas about that?
Yeah, with this camera thing, I think this is like, problems of all teachers. Maybe if you're students, you have to understand that from the perspective of teachers, when you guys all turn off camera during online meetings, such as Zoom, we feel like we're talking to no one. Okay, we just kind of feel like we're talking to the screen only. It's like, okay, I'm lonely here. I'm talking to myself because we cannot
Yes.
see you. Especially like me, someone who appreciates a lot about, small gestures that students do in the classroom. Okay, so that, for example, whether they understand or not, I can see from their reactions if it
Yeah,
was in
yeah,
the
yeah,
classroom,
exactly.
right? If they are sleepy, I can understand it too. But online, we cannot do that because students turn off the camera. But on the other hand, we cannot also force students to turn on the camera because, although maybe there are many teachers or lecturers like kind of set up strict rules in the beginning. For example, if you attend this course, you have to make sure that you have to be online on camera or turning on your camera, for example. Maybe it depends on the teachers. Okay, if the teacher, maybe if they teach in the big cities and if the student all living in big cities, maybe it's understandable. But in our case, for example, when we have many students living in, small places and
Yeah,
all,
yeah,
then we cannot do that. We cannot force students to turn on the camera all the time because we also have to understand the students' situations. And we have to also understand the students, gadget specifications, for example, whether the gadget is good to turn on camera or not, and all stuff like that. So there are many considerations that we have to think. I think so. The decision whether we should camera on all the time or on and off, that's supposed to be go back to the teachers. That means the teachers have to know the students. Okay, not only who they are, but also where they live. Okay, so if they understand that, okay, I think my students are basically living in big cities. They have sufficient internet data, reliable or not. That maybe you can set up that rule. But in the case that if your students are scattered, okay, not only in big cities but also in remote villages, then you cannot do that. Okay, you cannot force your students. So to answer that, meaning we have to basically just trust the student. So we can only say that we trust our student, that they listen to us and they pay attention to us. Okay, although okay, we can do some tricks. For example, we can just throw some random questions to random students so
yeah,
that,
yeah,
to
yeah.
make sure that they actually still
Yeah,
listening.
engage. Yeah.
But we cannot exactly. But we cannot also like but student will also have another reason, okay, another excuse. For example, I'm sorry, I cannot answer your question because my microphone, blah blah blah. So in that case, then all right, but next time I will ask you, for example. So and make sure you take down the name, and then next time you answer that, you call the same students to see if they pay attention. So that means, for example, in our class we have a rule that is up to you. Okay, if you want to turn on, it's good. If not, it's okay. But we believe that you basically listen to us and you learn. But one thing is that because we divide the lesson into two, so they learn beforehand on the LMS or on the e-learning, then basically, even if I, for example, myself in my context, even if I do not interact one by one during Zoom sessions, but I can read the whole opinion they have on the e-learning. Because remember, in the e-learning, student cannot skip, right? If they
Okay.
skip, then they cannot move on to the next modules.
Yeah.
So basically, I learn a lot from the students, from everyone, because I can see their opinions toward, problems that we put it on e-learning. In our TEL course and socio, we have two sessions when students need to be critical. In the TEL, we had the teacher's dilemma, where we put several, case study cases in Indonesia
Okay.
about teachers, and students have to answer it critically. And in the socio, we have debate and my voice, when students can see about a lot problems in real life and then discuss it. And students need to answer that. They need to contribute to it. They cannot skip. So that means it's a good solution because on Zoom it's very limited. We cannot ask students one by one. But on e-learning, we can see their answers. Okay, we can see their opinions. I think to me that is still the same. Okay, whether the difference is that one is written, the other is spoken verbally, but it's not the same. We can still see the way students think. Oh yeah, the student barely talks in Zoom, but I can see that the student's opinion is really wonderful on e-learning. So that means we as a teacher can learn from the students too. So that's I think another solution that we can do basically.
Okay, so that's those two ways that's very important in conducting what is it teaching learning process in this pandemic era, that we need synchronous and asynchronous, yeah, to what is it kind of
Mm,
balancing the activity.
exactly.
Okay, good
Yeah.
notion. And then I'd like to talk a little bit detail in what is it the way how you present the online learning while you have a Zoom session. What actually did you do there? The concept of how to make the student engage in
Yeah.
what is in the Zoom online session.
Mhm. So there
I
is,
just see
yeah.
that, yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, just continue.
Yeah, yeah. There is something that I think a lot of time there are some students ask me how to be creative teachers, and it's really hard to answer that because it's just like sometimes being creative doesn't mean like you plan everything. You just kind of okay, I have this idea and I want to do this, and you do it and see the student reaction. If it's positive, then you continue. If it's not,
Uh,
then don't do it. Okay. So when I studied Zoom, I always play some music. Like that means, for
what?
example, 10 minutes before Zoom. 10 minutes before
Oh,
Zoom, I
yeah.
play music randomly on Spotify and then stream it.
What a
So
nice
student,
station.
yeah, so student before they start, they listen to music. Okay, and the music for me, I set up the music depending on the class. If it's in the morning, normally I put instruments like piano or all stuff like that. But it's in the afternoon, sometimes like kind of jazz and all. So and
Okay.
also we ask students too, what kind of song that are you listening right now or what you like, and sometimes I play that too. And turns out
Okay.
it's very positive. Many students like the music before Zoom meetings. And then
Yeah.
after that, I also throw some pollings. Okay, on Zoom we have pollings, right? And I do every week before I start. I set up pollings, and normally the polling can be serious, can be just kind of asking question. For example, just okay, what do you have for lunch? And then I sort of provide several answers, and then they click it. But a lot of time I also provide with funny answers. For example, I don't have any money, so I don't have my lunch yet. For example, just to make it fun, okay? And
Yeah.
or sometimes it's very serious. For example, again, for example, the last question that it was very serious was about how the teaching. Okay, since we
Okay.
teach in FKIV, we ask students, okay, do you think teaching job is still promising or not? And then there are many good opinions from the students. And turns
Okay.
out it's very positive too. Many students think that the pollings make them feel welcome before the Zoom meeting. And they said, I feel like I am talking to someone. I feel like I'm talking to my teacher because maybe in their experience, when they start Zoom, they don't have anything. Okay, the lecturer just starts Zoom and then, okay, today we're going to talk about this, for example. But in my case, I want to make everything sort of move slowly, we try from something a simple, a light, a warm to something serious, and then we come back to something warm again, so that you cannot be hard all the time, right? You have to mix, you have to be balanced. That's the key of life. You cannot be strong or you cannot be hard all the time. You have to be, sometimes you have to be soft, for example. So those kind of things, basically I didn't think a lot about it, but I just like, okay, what about if I just kind of keep polling and then I do it and it's positive, then I continue. Or music,
Okay.
I don't have any plan. Okay, before Zoom, I want to play some music, for example. No, I just do it accidentally, and then she didn't like it, so I continue.
Okay. Yeah. That's kind of
So
trick
yeah, I think
actually. Engage the student, right?
yeah, exactly, because student. So when we start, they like it. Okay, it's like
Okay.
it's very positive, something like that.
Okay, so how about the way how you give something that attract the student in putting something on a slideshow or PowerPoint? What do you do? You have any comment about that? How to engage
Yeah,
them with the topic on the
right.
slideshow?
Yeah, I think many students also find that my PowerPoint design to be good, although I don't think it's good. But students like when I put a lot memes on it, like
Okay.
funny memes, and then students like it too. And also sometimes I make my PowerPoint to be interactive. So I do not
Yes.
just put text, 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 and text, but I ask a lot of questions in my PowerPoint. For example, before they start reading PowerPoint, I provide them with initial questions. Okay, what do you think about this? What do you
Okay.
think about that? And then they move on to reading the material. And in the middle of the material, we also have questions too. Why do you think like this? Why do you think like that? So I do a lot of Socrates method. So like kind of asking
Oh,
students a lot to be
separate.
critical,
Yeah.
so that when they read the PowerPoints, they are active reading, because they stop. Oh yeah, I have to think about this. So because if you just keep reading, maybe you just forget it. Okay, I want to read this and finish and that's it. But if you uh, stop for a moment and ponder, okay, oh yeah, why is this like this? Why is it like that? Then students think about it and then they continue. Although then the PowerPoint, sometimes it will be like 60 slides, okay? Because I put a lot of question, I put a lot of pictures, and in the middle I put also break. Okay, now break time, and then after that they continue. So why we have to do that? Because again, students are human, right?
Yes.
Our brain has limitation. We cannot be focused all the
Agree
time.
with that.
So that
Couldn't
means
agree
we have
more.
to give, exactly, we have to give students a break as well. Okay, now take a
Yes.
break, and then after this, you continue learning. It's very important to do that. Okay. Again, back to what we feel and what we think. If we do not like it, don't do it. Then, okay. If you think
Okay.
students gonna protest, then don't do it. Basically. Um, so maybe that's the thing about the PowerPoint, like how to make the PowerPoint interactive, so students also stop for a moment and think about the question being asked in the PowerPoint. So it's like when they read it, they like having conversation with us, the lecturers. Okay. In bahasa, karena kita tidak hanya cantum berbagai sumber kemudian
Yeah.
dipindahkan ke PowerPoint, tidak, tapi kita membuat si PowerPoint itu seperti percakapan begitu antara kita
Mm.
dan mereka. Misalkan
Yes.
ini ada statement, kemudian di bawahnya ada pertanyaan. Now stop for a moment. What do you think about this statement? Oke, okay? Dan
Yeah.
student tidak harus menjawab, mereka hanya berpikir saja karena itu kan nanti didiskusikan di Zoom begitu kan.
Yeah.
Tapi
Okay.
setidaknya ketika mereka membaca PowerPoint itu mereka berhenti sebentar dan berpikir, oh iya ya, apa ya, kenapa begini begitu. Nah, itu penting sekali karena ya itu tadi di social science especially we have to make students think, okay, think and think. Kenapa ini begini, kenapa itu begitu, and that's very important to to train our brain basically.
Okay. So you put the
Oh, we have
slide so
question here.
PowerPoint.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we
So
have Q&A?
many. What is comment? Yes. Of course we have.
Great.
Okay. So for those who watching us, join with us. Perhaps you what is it? What want to give some comment or question? Please. While we are waiting for the question, let me see. Is there any question for us?
Is there any question? Let's see.
And
How can I see
especially
this
for
comment?
Pak Nana. Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, it's still my first time doing live, so I still need to find out
It's first time
how
doing
can we
live
read
for.
questions.
Okay. Wait a minute. I will pin it for you. Okay. So. Okay, while we find out the question, so yes, we have the question. Here we go.
Oh,
Okay,
someone
so
mentioned
I think this
Maslow
question, yeah.
hierarchy.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
think this question is have you have explained it, yeah, about it from Empal Farisi. ask you about what LMS do you use for the asynchronous online learning?
Oh, yeah, I use Canvas for teacher. Okay, it's free, but the features very complete. It's like premium, but it's free, so can use that. I do not use Google Classroom because I think it has some limitation with the features. But on Canvas, is quite comprehensive. Okay, it provides with everything teachers need basically. So yeah, I use Canvas since probably 4 years ago. So now I know better how it works. Okay, and I use it, to maximize my classroom basically. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
Canvas free for teacher.
Okay, so yeah, perhaps you can Google it and check what its canvas is, yeah, to know more detail about the devices and what is it features that canvas has. Okay, so there are other question for Amalia Muldan. How long do you usually prepare the module, Pak Nana? We're curious
Amalia
about
is
that
one of
because
our
so many
students.
activities there, yeah.
Yeah. To prepare for the module, well, depends of how long it is, but the average time would be around 2 days, I think, or 2 until 3 days. Sometimes, if it's complicated, it can be a week. Because, like kind of blogging, we don't just put text, but also I have to find pictures, I have to find videos and all to put in there. And then because it has some, stages, okay, like this, and this, then I have to create that. And once you have the whole prototype or the whole things, for the next course, you can just copy it. So you don't have to start from the beginning, and that's good. So maybe in the beginning, it's a lot to do, but after that, you can just copy and modify a little bit depending on what courses that you teach at that time. So it's so much easier.
Okay, yeah, Amalia, that's the answer. And then we have, it seemed a good idea to play some music before beginning
Hi,
the
Miss
class. So
Vera.
you just yourself that sing a song.
Yeah, Miss Vera, I think she's wonderful lecturers too. I think, especially she can sing. Maybe you can sing live and that. Yeah, Miss Vera, it's good. Maybe next time we have to do session with Miss Vera.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Okay, and then there are some comments too about that. It's first Insta live too for me. Okay, this one. I have a question from Anissa. How to deal with student digital literacy? What is it? Except creating orientation modules. How long did you take to train student for Canvas? Is there any training for Canvas?
Yeah, we have it. But since most of our students already know or they're already familiar with Canvas, so it's fine. But since this semester we have students from other universities, so that means we have to at least 1 or 2 weeks after the course started, we have to be on time. We have to be standby all the time because some student kind of message us why this happens and why I cannot do this and cannot do that. But yeah, I think we had the orientation Zoom meeting when we explained how Canvas works and everything, including on the mobile apps, because many students use the mobile app instead of the website. But that means we have to explain how it works too, and then the importance to keep updated the application, because sometimes students forget to update, so it's a lot of mishaps. So that means you don't have to go on the Play Store or something like that and see if it has some new updates. Yeah, we do the training, not really training, but we just kind of have Zoom session explaining how the LMS works. And then after that, if students have any question, they can address it to us because we don't have any administrators, right? Everything we do by us. Jadi ini dari kita oleh kita untuk mereka begitu. So if they have questions, terkadang ada pertanyaan yang kita juga bingung. Ya ini kenapa bisa begini? Dan the teacher biasanya aku Google dulu ya, baru setelah itu sampaikan ke students gitu. Jadi karena itu tadi kita tidak punya orang yang khusus mengurusi Canvas itu. Karena kita versi gratis, jadi mau tidak mau kita semuanya kita yang mengurusi gitu. So selain orientation module, juga lebih baik ada live sessions on Zoom, so we can tell the student how it works, what problems, what they should do, and something like that. And at least for the next 2 or 3 weeks, you have to be ready with any questions on Canvas. But then after that, student they already know how to do it, then kita aman damai. Begitu. Jadi biasanya minggu-minggu awal
Okay.
memang akan sangat intens
Takes time
sekali
ya.
untuk menjawab
Praktik
pertanyaan.
ya. Okay. Okay. And then, is there any others? Let me check. Okay, so actually we have our colleague here.
Hello,
Hello,
colleague.
Bu Setiana, ya, Bu Vera, Bu
Hi, Miss Eve.
Asti. Okay, so I think there's no, what is it? No question. I'm sorry, it's
Oh, we have an
our
old
first
friend of
question.
mine. That's Dio. Hi,
Really?
Dio.
You may say hello then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
How are
I have
you?
then. Okay. Okay. Next. Okay. I think you have answered this one, yeah? The hardest challenge. Have you?
Which one? Can I see? What do you think?
The
The
hardest
hardest challenge.
challenge of teaching online you ever deal with.
The hardest. I mean, I can only pick one. The hardest is. It's hard because it sounds like everything
Why
is
are
so
you laughing?
challenging. Yeah, but maybe the hardest is how to make sure the student learn. That's probably the hardest, I think. And students satisfy, and then students think that what they do is actually worth it. Because, this is very important because, again, as I mentioned to you, that we have to basically, uh, you know, uh, make students not think that this is artificial. So it means we have to show them that we work really hard to prepare everything for you. So at least they appreciate what we do. Maybe that's the most challenging thing is to make sure how our students learn. Because again, back to the basic concept or fundamental reason why we do teaching is basically to make students learn. And student learn can be in any form. Okay, it's not only in they remember, but most of the time we have to see in the students' behavior, the way they change. Okay, that's part of the learning theories. Okay, that we have to see the student change in their behavior into a good way, of course. And I think that's probably the hardest, how to make sure, because we do not meet the students, we cannot ask all the time to the student, like privately, because, it's online. Unlike in the classroom, everything can be seen, but online, then many things are invisible, and that means to make sure that the student learn is really hard unless probably we see it from assessments or any kind of assessment that we have in the course. Okay, it's sufficient, but the feeling is not. In my case, I feel it not as satisfied as in the classroom teaching, because again, because yes, the feeling is a little bit different. I think so. It's just the matter of feeling. But yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, then next we have from Tandy. How did you do
Hi, Sandy.
evaluation? Someone you know. And then is attitude aspect giving impact for the evaluation?
Attitude is still okay. I think we cannot eliminate attitude. You still have to consider, but then we have to know what attitude we mean here. Okay, if it's attitude something that cannot be accepted, then so of course our assessments normally more into academics because our context in a university. Most of the time, students already mature enough. They know what to do. They know what's right and what's wrong. So it's easier for us. So that means we can focus more on the academic part. But of course, that doesn't mean that some university students, some of them just don't know something. So okay, don't know what to do. Let's say the attitude is not good, but again, that is not something for us to judge. whatever the student think or treat the online course, we still need to give them the same chance. Okay. So normally, for example, for me, if I see student not complete module, like kind of late, because I always track the module, or student who always complete the module on time, student that always late, I always ask, okay, what's problem with you? Why you didn't finish this, for example? Okay, and many times they explain the problems, and then we give them chance. Okay, we give you time to complete the module until this time. So it means then the teacher need to work again, need to work harder to make sure that the students are in our, in our circle ya. Artinya apapun yang terjadi, student ini harus tetap ditanyakan kenapa ada yang menghilang. Biasanya kalau di online kan ada yang menghilang ya. Tiba-tiba we call it as MIA ya, missing in action. So where is student? Tidak pernah muncul, modulnya tidak pernah selesai, di Zoom tidak pernah ada, ya kita kontak, kita berusaha. But if there is no answer, and then you try, but maybe that means the students probably don't want to learn. But at least we try, okay, kita membantu. But for public schools, like elementary schools, you still can do assessment of attitude, but maybe more into normative, ya. Lebih ke mungkin attitude-nya kan tidak bisa di-observe, but the fact that maybe they submit the assignment on time, it's also part of the attitude. Or when they chat you, they use polite language, it's also part of the attitude. It's something you still can basically consider. Artinya itu penting juga karena I see many times children, especially during online, they do not really learn, they play games all the time. And it's really sad to hear that a lot of them, use or speaks bad words all the time, because I think maybe the parents cannot control the online learning, because I don't know, I think that's something also we have to discuss a lot, the other problems of the online learning for public school. So my answer, yes, attitude is still considered and we have to consider it, but maybe the level or the degree of the differences we assess it would be different depending on the teaching context and depending on what kind of attitude you want to have in your students. And that's very important to think about it so you can assess it. Because again, attitude is so broad. That means we have to see what do you expect from your student need to do, and whether the student do that or not, then you assess that as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Pak Nanak. And then we just only have 5 minutes left. Tidak terasa ya, Pak Nanak, 1 jam itu ternyata cepat sekali.
Yeah.
And then perhaps you, we have kind of insight that you have, 2 sessions in synchronous and asynchronous, and then you have how to attract the student and giving music and then polling and then interactive slideshow. Do you have any concluding remark about our sharing this afternoon?
Yeah, it's very I enjoy it. Like I just kind of keep talking. I guess sorry for that. But yeah, it's really interesting to share stuff like this because I think in these trying times, that means everyone is struggling. So we have to work together better than in the normal situations. So it means we need cooperation not only from the teachers and also students. Okay, because the teachers also cannot control the students all the time. So that means students also need to take part in it. I mention it all the time to my students that, guys, I know that we are online. I know that many of you think this is not ideal, but again, we try our best. So we need also your cooperations. That means you also need to be, interactive to us. Okay, whenever you have problem, tell us something like that, because we cannot ask you all the time. We cannot see if you have any problems or not because you are online. So it means you have to be interactive all the time whenever you have problems and something like that. So we can see your problems so we can find the solution. I think like in any education, like in anything, it cannot be one-sided. Okay? Tidak bisa satu arah saja. It means harus ada kerjasama untuk menciptakan pendidikan itu harus kerjasama gitu. Baik studentnya juga harus mau ada kemauan, teachernya juga harus ada kemauan, tidak satu saja. Karena kalaupun teachernya sangat motivated, sangat baik, tapi kalau studentnya tidak pernah ada kemauan ya susah juga begitu kan. So harus ada timbal balik gitu. Ini tetap
Yeah.
penting dan itu harus diberitahukan ke student dari awal bahwa we have to work together, we have to cooperate. Kita harus bekerja sama karena kita sama-sama kesusahan begitu. Jadi jangan sampai dari situ kita mendewasakan student juga bahwa apa namanya? Dalam pendidikan ya kita bukan spoon feed begitu kan, kita tidak menyuapi kalian tapi kalian juga harus ada usaha gitu. Ini penting sekali, harus membuat terutama di mahasiswa ini harus penting sekali untuk dibuat mereka itu berpikir dewasa gitu, karena terkadang
Yeah.
mahasiswa masih berpikir seperti zaman SMA begitu kan, dimana lebih sering diberi begitu, tapi kalau kuliah kan you have to also work begitu kan, kalian harus juga mencari dan lain sebagainya karena ilmu itu tidak cukup dari dosen saja. You have to explore out there. Jadi itu harus ditekankan ke student, tentunya dengan cara yang baik agar mereka memberi. At the end of the day, we have to give them understanding and purpose of what we are doing. Okay, when student understand what we are doing and they shouldn't know the benefits, normally the student will follow it. Yeah, I think that's it. Probably we will talk more about this in SIG, I think, hopefully. So maybe
Oh, yeah.
if you're interested in joining SIG, are we still open?
Yeah, Pak Nanak will be one of the speaker of Siliwangi International Conference on 14 and 15 of July. You may join then. Pak Nanak will talk more about this then, yeah?
Yeah, and I will give example too. That yeah.
Okay, I think we have run out of time. We just only have 1 hour session for this sharing. And then we'll see you next week then. Pak Nanak also will give other insight about what is it regard to edtech, yeah? We concerned about that in this account. Okay, so thank you Pak Nanak for joining us.
Thank you, Miss Queen. Thank you, everyone, for being
And then
here.
thank you for everyone, yeah, who joined us in this afternoon. I'm sorry if there's something that I can't, see your comment or something there. We'll see you next week then. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Bye, Miss Queen.
Bye-bye. Thank you.